gonna start with the frozen envelope. Doc Prime, go ahead and explain it. It was.
Well,
Hold on, before you explain it, let me give it a little bit of backstory. It was very suspicious back then when it happened.
it was.
Um, and this trade with Luca was very suspicious. They saying things like the commissioner has something to do with that. With that being said, Doc Prime, go ahead and explain the frozen envelope.
So in 1985, the NBA basically introduced this draft lottery system because they wanted to deter teams from deliberately throwing games, losing games to secure draft pick. And when you see a game, I mean, I don't know if they do it in the NFL, but it looks different in other sports when they're doing that. But in the NBA, clearly you can tell when they're throwing away a game, missing passes, not playing defense, like letting the people just run to the basket. And so the fans were like not having it. That's not going to happen. So during the inaugural, I would say, lottery of when they were doing this, um, basically there were 7 or 8 teams that were in the bottom. The problem was that one of those teams or one of those cities was New York, and there was a big man coming from Georgetown who
Yeah.
was basically going to turn the NBA upside down because this person was a game changer, had won a national championship. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Patrick Ewing. Okay, so Patrick Ewing is coming on the scene, and money talking says, hey, we got to get Patrick Ewing onto the team with the big market because we need that talent to be showcased so that we can make more money. So are you going to leave that to chance? Well, I mean, people say that's what the whole thing was, to give all the losing teams a chance to get Patrick Ewing. But the theory goes that they froze one of the envelopes, bent the tips, or did something to it so that when David Stern reached into the bubble, he could distinguish between which one was New York and which ones were not. And lo and behold, what team did he pick out for the first round draft pick for Patrick Ewing? The New York Knicks. And so that conspiracy has been going on for decades. All right. And I think that what you're talking about now is how the whole trade situation with Luca going from the Mavericks, and I'm a mathematician. The way I calculated, the Mavericks only had a 1.8% chance of actually getting a first round draft pick and all this other stuff. And that brought back to everybody's attention. Not to mention, I don't want to belabor the point, I don't know why LeBron is stirring the pot, but he's also weighing in and adding fuel to the fire by talking about how, the possibility of NBA influence and draft outcomes, even reflecting on his own pick to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2003. So I'll give you that for background, and let's see what they say. Let's see what I'm gonna see how the fans handle it. But the conspiracy is out there.
All right. So the conspiracy is out there now. They going crazy on ESPN radio because they brought up the frozen envelope before the pick, before they actually did the lottery. Then when they did the lottery, they went to commercial, so they didn't show the people. Then they came back and they said that the Mavericks had secured the first round pick. So everybody was like, "Oh, hold on, they rubbing it in our face."
Right.
They showing us the frozen envelope footage.
Yeah.
And now the Mavericks get the number one draft pick, used it, and they used it wisely. But some people said there is footage out there of it, but who knows? But this the thing though. Do you believe, because that trade was real out of left field. It was way out of left field. Do you believe that the commissioner has something to do with that trade, and now he owes the Mavericks, thus The frozen envelope.
The whole reason that they went to this draft lottery was to stop teams from tanking. In recent history, the Philadelphia 76ers created something called the process. It is infamous. The process was we will lose until we get a top pick, and then we will lose some more to get another top pick. And then just to be sure, we will lose more to get another top pick. So years the Philadelphia 76ers watched trash basketball, watched horrible teams get put on the court so that they could get these top picks. So I think, if anything, the commissioner had his hand in saying, I don't care who gets the first pick, but it's not going to be the two worst teams in the league. Those teams will not get the number one pick for an extended period of time. But no, I don't think that the commissioner cared about where Luka Doncic went. I don't think he cared about rewarding a team who traded away their best player for, other players. I think that all of that is just conspiracy theory. And like I heard from some other people, in mathematics, when something has a 1.8% chance of happening, that still means it can happen. That doesn't mean that it's not supposed to happen. It still can happen. I get the whole frozen envelope in the New York Knicks thing, and that makes a lot more sense and is a lot more plausible. I don't know too many people who are predicting that Cooper Flagg is going to be the next, Larry Bird, or lead a team to tons and tons of championships. They think he's a great prospect, sure, but he's not a LeBron James or these can't miss picks of the past. So I don't believe it. I don't think the commissioner had anything to do with it.
I would have to say I have to agree with that. I think that, again, a 1.8% chance doesn't mean you have no chance. Now, two things happen together. Two incidents happen at the same time. We say it's a coincidence. Okay, that's fine. But coincidences do happen. So it just happened that they did trade away their best player. But there was no guarantee. I do not believe that there was a guarantee from the commissioner. The other thing is, how much of a guarantee would that even be? Okay, so you're going to trade away your best player, and I'm going to rig something up. How could I even rig something up that could be a guarantee that you're going to get first round draft pick? I don't see it happening. I think there's too many variables there that cannot be controlled, and I think people just like thinking about conspiracies because it brings about a little bit of drama. And I don't think the NBA necessarily hates the drama, because as long as we talking, that's what they want. They want eyes on the story. They want people talking about the NBA. That's what we're doing right now.
Well, you got y'all got the conspiracy theories upset. They having a good time on ESPN radio. They hate the commissioner, as we all know. They think he's the reason for the game being what it is, and they think this plummets his stock a little bit more if they get to believe in it. But me myself, I can't go with it.
What does the
much of a stretch.
Prove though?
Man, I think everybody went crazy from them showing that frozen envelope footage before the pick. And then the Mavericks get it. And everybody was already saying, well, why would the Mavericks make this trade? So the conspiracy is out.
Well, but they still look stupid for making the trade.
Right.
Even if it's conspiracy or not, you still look dumb for doing it.
Well, the thing is,
they don't look dumb per se. Lakers lost in the first round, so it's not like you gave away a championship.
right?
Yeah.
No.
But the thing is, they saying that.
So.
Well, they think that the commissioner had a hand in it getting Luka to LA, I guess, to help the NBA.
I as a Lakers fan, I do remember a time when I was quite sour with the NBA, when we were supposed to be getting a player from a small market team, the New Orleans Hornets at the time. And from that team, we were supposed to be getting the generational point guard, they called him, Chris Paul. However, the New Orleans Hornets at the time did not have an owner. And so they were owned by the commissioner, by the league. And when they made this trade to send Chris Paul to go partner up with Kobe Bryant, which definitely meant championship rings, the commissioner at the time said nope, and they vetoed the trade. Now, a lot of people were upset about that, but that kind of goes the opposite way of this idea that the league favors, big cities, because they vetoed that one to prevent LA from getting a small market player that would have made them more prime time. So it's just these conspiracy theories, like throughout time, don't necessarily remain consistent. And in order to really connect them, you got to start winding a road all throughout everything. And you end up with this twisted story that could be good in a book or maybe a 90-minute TNT movie, but doesn't really work in real life.
Right. And when you talk about this winding road, there are a couple of things that need to be present if you're going to make this theory, this conspiracy whole. First, you need a big market, and the big market isn't a stutter step to get to the big money. That's like the first domino that you're setting up. And this conspiracy falls apart just for the fact that the Lakers were eliminated from the playoffs, right? So you've already eliminated a domino that you need to fall in order for this conspiracy to happen. And so, I think that, if the idea is that the commissioner and the league is trying to say, we want our big market teams to bring all this revenue from staying in the playoffs and playing and dominating, well, you haven't done that. So I don't see why they would put all that on the line for a Mavericks pick. It was a 2% chance. They rolled it. They got it. It happens.
Well, some people think this is all because of the tariffs. Dallas had to get rid of their foreign player, and they had to replace that foreign player with an American-grown product. Very similar, but not the same, but similar, right? And so many people are saying that it is tariffs to blame for what happened to Luka. They shipped him out to L.A., and, they said, look, give them the foreign, but we want American-made in Texas. And that's what they're getting, right? They're getting that Duke American-made player.